There are boys sports and girls sports, and there's equal opportunity there for them to compete within each of those. So this is very important that the MHSAA does align with our federal guidelines that have come forth. And there's no reason for this. We must stand up, protect our kids, protect our girls and females that are playing in sports. So thank you very much for being here today and listening to us.
Good morning. I'm State Representative Jennifer Wirtz, and as you can see, I'm dressed a little bit differently today, and I'll explain that as I speak today. 21 years ago and 1 month ago, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. As a sister who only had brothers, I was shocked and never imagined that I would have a daughter. That daughter went through various stages in her life. I tried to get her to play basketball. That was my sport. She hated it and chose cheerleading. She was even offered a college scholarship to be on the cheer team. Things didn't go as planned, however, and 2 years ago she transferred to Liberty University. There she was recruited to join the women's wrestling team. Having never been a wrestler in her life, we were shocked to hear this news, but amazed at how quickly she advanced. A year ago, she finished in the top 5 of the National Collegiate Women's Wrestling Association finals, and she's an All-American wrestler. Today, she will be competing again at the NCAA finals, hoping to bring home that same title. I share this because it's ironic to me that at the national college level, we've recognized and expected that men don't belong in women's sports. Conversely, women wrestling has become the fastest growing sport in America because women don't have a chance to compete fairly against men in wrestling. Men are simply by nature stronger, and that's okay. God made them that way. Even at the high school state wrestling finals and districts, MHSAA separates girls from competing against boys. They recognize the same thing, that if girls were competing against their same male counterparts, they could not win. It would be at a disadvantage to them. We stand here today simply asking that MHSAA adopt the same principles that they use in wrestling. The principle behind why Title IX was created in the first place, to give our daughters and our granddaughters a chance to compete fairly in sports, to compete in sports and athletics, and to not be afraid of a boy or a young man taking that opportunity away from them. God made male and females differently. I have 2 boys and 2 girls. I see it all the time. We accept that. We embrace that. We want our daughters and our girls and our granddaughters to have those same opportunities and to be protected and the chance to excel and win. Thank you.
So you've heard their stories, you've heard their testimonies, and we're here because of us as women wanted to compete fair and safely. And we want our children and our grandchildren to have the same opportunities that we had, that actually our grandmothers and our mothers had to fight for that. They did not have that same opportunity. And so I'm of the generation that had that opportunity, and it is my duty to preserve that for the future. So we're ready to take questions if we have any today. No, she's in committee.
I guess Rep. Wenzel, then. You voted for the expansion of ELCRA in 2023, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And now the MHSAA is saying that is in part what's preventing them from making this decision. When you voted for it, did you feel like it would have prevented what you guys are asking for?
No, absolutely not. When I voted for that, it was so people weren't discriminated against by who they love. Had nothing to do with men playing in women's sports in any way. Thank you.
So, hi everyone, Lily Gwynn from Gongwar. There was a 15-year-old trans boy who committed suicide in Royal Oak last month who was an athlete, and though his parents had not released any of the information as to the circumstances of his suicide, we know from federal studies that have been done, as well as independent studies that have been done, that legislation, resolutions like these, and rhetoric like this often has a link to teen suicides among trans children. Is there any concern among any of you that this is something that could?
Well, in itself, so we want all children to be safe, to be able to have opportunities. And there is no reason we couldn't have a separate space for them to compete. But there is an undeniable difference that if you are genetically born a male, you have a competitive advantage over a female. And so I'm so sorry that that has happened, and I empathize for those parents. You know, and we're not we also have experiences with this as well. So here's Jamie Green's story. My best friend in college, he struggled with this as well. He also had mental health issues. He began the process of transitioning because a counselor encouraged him to, because he was comfortable in women's clothing. We were all fine with him being comfortable in women's clothing. We were all fine with him turning into Tara. No issue with that. However, because of the transition, so we're heading down a slippery slope. He should have had more screening. He ended up committing suicide as well. And so we have to be careful on how we handle children and adults that go through this as well, but we also have girls and boys who are competing as well. And so we do need to find a space for everybody that is equal, fair, and safe. And so it is important that, of course, those parents are supported, and of course, children are encouraged to and be supported. They have a space to be who they are, just like Rep. Wenzel said. People have a right now to love who they want to love, and we're not against that. We are trying to protect our daughters, though, from biological males who have a competitive advantage as well. And so wouldn't it be wonderful if the MHSAA could figure out a space for transitioning children, girls and boys, to all play in?
And on quick follow-up, so the MHSA's last public message to us, at least, was that they're committing to a legal review of their policy between ALCRA and between the federal executive order. So it doesn't sound like they're, shutting the door on what you guys are talking about. It sounds like maybe they're just not ready to commit to it yet. So as they go through that legal review, is there anything that you all hope that they consider?
Well, we're also hoping that the schools address this locally as well. And that is part of this, is to encourage those high schools to talk to MHSAA, to have open conversations. So if you read the resolution, we're not condemning anybody. We want to lift girls and women up, and we want these organizations to solve these issues and also to come in compliance with what the federal government has asked of us to do.
Next question.
Next question. All right. Well, thank you for being here today.
Nice job.